What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of the High and Outside podcast. Malik Wright from MLBBro.com. I'm with my boy Dante. What's going on, man?
Chilling, bro. How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's about to be a rainy night out here in Arlington. Good thing we got the dome. We got a full week of baseball ahead for us. What about you?
Pretty good. We got the Cubs coming into town this week, so it's going to be a big series. That usually always brings a big crowd out in Atlanta, so I know it's going to be an exciting series.
Yeah, those Cubs fans always travel well. Again, This is the High and Outside podcast. We go live on Facebook every Sunday, 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific. And then you can hear our podcast on SoundCloud. Watch us on YouTube. We'll get it out to you later this week. But we had a busy week in the majors. Miggy 3,000. Multiple dudes hit multiple home runs, but I want to start with the best thing that we seen this week, and it's something that we prayed for last week. Byron Buxton's back, man. Back, baby. Came through. He was 4 for 4 yesterday with 2 RBIs, 3 runs, a double. And then today he hit not 1, but 2 home runs, the last one being a walk-off to beat that's your squad, the Chicago White Sox. They struggling right now, 7 straight L's, but we'll keep it about Buxton, man. He's right back where he left off from last season.
Yeah, bro. Like you said, last 2 games, he's 6 for 9, 5 runs, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs. He's really doing everything that we love that we've seen him do when he's healthy. When healthy, he is a superstar. And today there was second and third. They had the option to walk him. I'm not really sure why Tony La Russa decided to pitch to him after he already took you deep earlier in the game. You could let the other guy beat you. I forgot his name, but he's not Byron Buxton. So Byron Buxton's scorching right now, and they chose to pitch to him. Liam Hendricks, he's been struggling. And, I don't care how fast your fastball is. You can't just throw belt high fastballs and expect to win games. Like Liam has been doing this. Here's the first home run. And the thing about Buxton that we love, bro, he has power to all fields. He's not just sitting there trying to pull the ball. He's gonna hit it where it's pitched. That was off Aaron Bummer, who a lefty. And then for you to see, you're gonna see him eventually come in the I believe it was extras. But bro, you have first base open. You don't pitch to this guy right now. Like, he's on fire. And Tony La Russa, who he everybody's talking about his World Series experience, and he's a great manager, and the White Sox are going to have all this situational baseball locked down, and he's made mistake after mistake, and this was another one today.
Yeah, Buxton was fired up, especially after that walk-off, but maybe they thought they had him on the ropes. They struck him out 3 times. They've struck Buxton out in his first 3 at-bats going into that. I believe Rodon was on the mound tonight. Took him off. Buxton just talked about how he had to stay the course. As here's the walk-off right here. I believe Nick Gordon, who I actually write about tomorrow, he was on third, I believe, second or third. But, I mean, Bucko crushed it, and he's fired up. He knows that, he knows when he's on the field, the WAR, the WAR rating that he affects, the winning ways he affects of a Twins team, that with him, they have a chance to get to the playoffs and win a few games. Without him, and you just leave Carlos Correa, it's a lot of question marks with that team.
Yeah, bro, I agree. And so, like we said, you can only hope that he stays healthy and continues to do this, because, I mean, like you said, with the White Sox battling injuries, Jimenez, out 68 weeks with a torn hamstring, the Twins now have an opportunity to really jump on that division. And so Buxton being healthy is going to be key to that. If he can't stay healthy, that's not going to happen. So I think that, this is a great thing for Twins fans, but it's a great thing for Byron Buxton.
Yeah, and so we'll see. Like we said earlier, 7 straight L's for the White Sox. Guardians, they're looking better than we thought they would this season, but we'll see how long that lasts as well. But 2 guys that we were going to lead the show off with before Buxton stole the show, they also had 2 home runs on Friday night. Mookie Betts and Aaron Judge both got their first 2 home runs on the year Friday night. Mookie this season's only batting 160. He had the 2 home runs. Aaron Judge batting 250, 560 slugging percentage. We've seen him make a few good defensive plays as well. I know Mookie had sort of a slow year last year for his numbers. He's got off to the slow start this season. He's got that great lineup around him, but is there any reason we should have to worry about Betts?
No, I wouldn't be worried about Mookie. I think, like we've stressed so far this season, like, it's still early. Like, you had the shortened You see him turn on this one. This is like that's just prime Mookie Betts right there. Like upper deck shot in San Diego. But I mean, you had the short spring training, so guys really haven't had an opportunity to get in their groove. And when you look at a guy like Mookie struggling or Aaron Judge struggling, the offense is down across the league. Just across the board, offense has been really bad. Like, and that might be an understatement, but they talked about the league changing the ball again and things like that. But either way, guys just aren't hitting. So I really wouldn't be too concerned about them right now. So give it another month or two, and if you still see Mookie hitting sub 200, then yeah, it's time to be concerned.
Yeah, and I think we can officially put the end. It's not a rivalry. They pounded the Padres again today.
Yeah, it never was, but I mean, it was cool. We do this thing in sports where we try to create these new rivalries, but I think at the end of the day, the players on the field are what's going to dictate what the rivalry is, and the Padres right now, we've never seen them either fully healthy, and when they are healthy, they haven't performed up to the standards that we thought the Padres were going to be. So let's just dial it back on San Diego until we can see them actually perform like an elite ball club, because they're not the Dodgers. They just aren't.
Yeah, and even, I got question marks for him even with Tatis. I don't know if he can make up that. I believe they lost like 11-2 today. I don't think he's worth 9 runs, but we'll touch real quick on him. Aaron Judge, big time bat on the Yankees. His Yankees currently sit tied in first place with the Blue Jays. Expectations you have for him for these next few weeks?
Well, Aaron Judge is trying to get his paper. So, I mean, at this point, you're going to see him perform like he's always performed. Like for Aaron, the main thing is staying healthy. I think at the plate, we already know everything he brings. So for him, it's important to just really drive home the fact that he's worth every dollar he's trying to get out of the New York Yankees. So I expect him to have a big year. As long as, like I said, health is key. As long as he stays healthy, we know what he can do in the plate. We know about his glove. So, I expect big things from Aaron this year.
This is him against those Guardians. His first bomb of the year. Takes it over to that short right field. Of course, we see New York like he does always. 3-1. And I still think Aaron Judge is one of the best players in baseball. I think he's one of those guys that you don't maybe have in your top 5. I hate to bring in the other, the basketball, football comparisons, but you don't know who's in your top 5 circumstantially. But I think every night on a night by night basis on the field, it shows he can throw with the best, he can hit with the best, and he's clutch. He continues to get it done. But I want to get into this next guy who, I can't lie, I'm a little envious you got to meet my boy Jazz, especially after what he did on Wednesday to the Cardinals. Let me set the stage for you. So he's in the box, throws a pitch. He's having a little discussion with the umpire. Umpire's trying to rush him into the box. You see Yadier Molina behind the plate, begging his pitcher to throw a strike. In a game, I believe Jordan Hicks started that game, but Jazz gets rushed, walks into the batter's box, swings and hits a monster home run. He's leading the league in slugging percentage. And he's taken off as we've spoken. As we made our show rundown today, he had another great day at the plate today. So talk about your impressions of Jazz.
Oh, no. That pitch, you'll see right here is him homer on the first pitch of the game last night. And, just the energy he brings to the plate every day, it's one of those guys. It's no front. Like everything you see on the field, like when you get a chance to talk to him, that's really who he is. And so, he actually hit leadoff for the second time last night, and he also hit leadoff again today. So I think putting a weapon like that at the top of the lineup, a lot of people expected. They had Jorge Soler hitting leadoff, but he's been struggling, so they swapped him down. But Jazz has superstar written all over him, and you see it, and you're seeing it in his play. And one thing I noticed, even and we'll get into this later, but even when he was taking batting practice, he was very active and very engaged with the hitting coach. Between each one of his reps, going back, getting more coaching, going back into the box. So, seeing a player like that is always exciting. And, he's showing it on the field, and, he's not afraid to be himself while he's out there doing it. And so that's something that is great for baseball, something we need more of. And so it was really dope getting to meet him. He was a cool dude, very approachable. And I think, anytime the Marlins have been good, it's been sparked by a younger player. They spent a little money on some vets with Jorge and Ivy Garcia, but at the same time, anytime that they've ever gone on a run, it's been sparked by young players. So when you got a young guy like Jazz with superstar potential, that's something to watch for in Miami.
Yeah, like we said, we're getting into more specifics with Jazz later, but first in slugging percentage, 5th in the league in RBIs, doing it at the second base position. If he can keep up that defense, then he's going to be there for a while. But we had history over the weekend. Miguel Cabrera, Detroit's Marlins own former Miami Marlin prospect, Miguel Cabrera, became the newest member, 33rd member, I believe, of Major League Baseball's 3,000 hit club. He's the first player in MLB history with 600 hits, 500 home runs, 600 doubles, and a 310 batting average. We grew up with him, days with Albert Pujols, him in his prime. Remember him from the Triple Crown he won a few years back. Just take it over, man. What do you guys say about Mickey?
You touched on it a little bit. I'll go a little further. 3,000 hits, 500 home runs in the Triple Crown. Nobody else has done that but Miguel Cabrera. Multiple batting titles, home run titles, plus 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. Only Hank Aaron has done that. So, you're talking about a guy who's now in you can't even call it elite company. He's in like GOAT territory. Like Miguel Cabrera you can put him in that conversation as arguably arguably the greatest right-handed hitter of all time. He's on that list. He's top 5. He has to be. There's no other way around it. Like when you get mentioned with names like Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, these are the greats. The greats of the great. So when you're in that, when your stats show that you're on that level, you can't do anything but salute it. And we've seen him from a young age when he was a skinny third baseman to now as a first baseman, really doing this thing. So I think with Miguel Cabrera, like I said, man, top 5 right-hand hitter of all time. I think him and Albert Pujols are the best that we've seen. But I think right-handed hitters, that's 1 and 1A right there.
And let me tell you why I think this is the most beautiful, specific piece. And I'm not going to go into my spiel on why I don't hate the shift. Man, Miggy shot that ball opposite field. He beat the shift to do it. You can't shift guys like that. It's just pure greatness. You saw him the night before when it's runners on second and third. The day before, it's runners on second and third. They intentionally walk him, and it ends up Meadows gets the, I believe, was a 3 RBI double to take the lead, and he's still all about winning despite that milestone. And now I'm glad that he got to reach this, and I'm glad he got to do it with the Tigers players that he gets to do it with now, because they have so much young talent with Torkelson, Baddoo, and Baez, for them all getting to see that. But they have a legitimate shot at a wide open net. We've talked about the White Sox already. The Twins, I'm not going to say their lineup is more formidable than what the Tigers bring, and they've proven it. They beat up a lot on the Rockies this weekend.
Yeah, bro. Like you said, I tried to talk you down off it last week, but it looks like the division for the time being really is wide open. So it's gonna be interesting to see. You have a grizzled vet like Miguel, surrounded with young talent. He's gonna really coach those guys up, and he really loves the game of baseball. And you saw it in the speech he gave after he got the 3,000 hits. The toast, he said, "Let's go win the division." So even like you said, with the individual accolades, bro has really, he's all about team. He's about winning, and that's great for the game of baseball. So, it's going to be interesting to see where Detroit goes from here, because it is a lot of young talent on that team, and they're going to rally around Mickey. You definitely, you see it. You already know you could see that happening.
Yes, sir. Well, again, if you ever hear this, Miguel Cabrera, us from the High and Outside podcast and MLBBro.com, congratulate you on your great Hall of Fame career. But I want to bring in a guy who's a Hall of Famer in my book, Louisiana's own David Grubb here. What's going on, Dave?
What's happening? Good to talk to you, man. It's been too long.
Yes, sir, man. I miss you. But you came right in time. We're discussing, before we get into the Black Aces topic, I wanted to talk to you about another ace, Shohei Ohtani, and what he did to the Houston Astros last week. I had to mention him this week because I talked about, we showed the Grand Slam, first Grand Slam of against Ohtani last week. Didn't know if he would have the same effect on the mound. He came through 6 innings, 1 hit ball against Houston, shut him out. Just talk about maybe, and we saw the Astros have a great day today, but just what did you see from Ohtani?
We haven't seen anything like him. And I think that's the best thing for baseball, is that we've needed to see that you can be fully formed as an athlete and challenge yourself and be great. I think so much of baseball over the last decade or so has become guys being such more one-dimensional. And Ohtani was given the freedom that a lot of players are not given to explore and figure out what his best really is by doing everything, by being a pitcher, by being a hitter. And the dude hits for average, decent average, hits for crazy power, can strike you out, can pitch as well, not just a hard thrower. And so when I look at Ohtani, I'm just like, this dude, hopefully what he brings about is a wave where general managers, scouts start allowing players again to just be what they are and to figure out how you can fit their talents into what you do rather than trying to make them into something you need. And I think that was the hard part for Ohtani in the beginning, was that they just didn't know what to do with him. And now they're just like, let him be great, and let him figure out what he's going to do. And you see it's dominant. How long it lasts, I don't know. But I think, I would rather see greatness. I would rather see something I've never seen and seen someone not do since Babe Ruth. And even Babe Ruth hasn't done some of the things Ohtani is doing right now. I'd rather see that than see a bunch of years of him as a regular platoon outfielder hitting 25 home runs, or as coming out of the bullpen and getting 40 saves. Those might be fine. But what we're seeing now is something we're going to tell our children about.
I agree with you. And it's I'm glad you segued that about letting players decide, because that leads us into the segue of the Black Aces we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about Hunter Green, former first-round pick for the Cincinnati Reds, #1 prospect. He came into the league as a two-way player. Tommy John surgery, bulked up. He's only pitching now, but he throws some fire. His last game, 3 1/3 innings, 3 earned, 3 Ks versus the Cardinals. He's faced the Braves, Dodgers, and Cardinals. I'm going to call the Cardinals a playoff team last season.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about what you see from him.
I mean, the first thing you notice, of course, is the speed. He's already set the major league record for most 100-mile-per-hour pitches in a single game, and he did that on 80 pitches. I think it was 80 pitches in that start in 5 innings.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just ridiculous. So his talent is unbelievable. I think the sky's the limit for him. But I feel the toughest thing, he's part of a bad organization right now. The Reds are really bad this year. And, you see the fans have already started to turn on him 3 weeks into the season. So that thing to me is a real issue for the Reds. But Hunter Green got a lot of that J.R. Richard in him. I know a lot of people wanted to compare it to Dwight Gooden, but Dwight was more flexible. You know what I'm saying? Like, Dwight was a rubber band on the mound, whereas Hunter's power. That's a big man coming downhill on you. And it looks a lot very reminiscent of guys like J.R. Richard, Bob Gibson, that kind of just towering downhill presence. He doesn't have that curve that buckles. It's the fastball, it's the slider, and he's working on the change. If he can get that change in there and have a solid third pitch that's off speed, that boy, because I mean, you've seen it in the first against the Braves. You come out in your debut against the Braves. And yeah, the biggest problem for him in those first 2 starts was the home runs, not his ability to pitch. Like I said, if you're serving up triple digits, it's going to come out fast. So when you playing against 2 of the best teams in the bigs in your first 2 starts, teams like the Dodgers, they got how many MVPs stacked in that lineup? Teams like the Braves that just won the World Championship. Teams like, all the teams that he's played against are teams that can hit. And so he didn't give up any gopher balls today to the Cards, but to see what he did in those first 2 starts against teams that have experienced lineups, who have been in winning situations, and they were fooled by what he's got, and they can't catch up to what he's got. When he figures this out, when he gets around that second, I think he's one of those pitchers. A lot of times you see guys the first time around the bigs, they're at their best. He's going to be a guy, because he hadn't gotten enough innings yet. his second time around is going to be really where it's at.
Yes, sir. And again, this is the High and Outside podcast, MLB Bros weekly baseball recap. Dante Miles here with my boy David Grubb. And I want to talk about a guy. We had him on the top of our high five list, the newest black ace, and maybe the best black pitcher in the game today, Josiah Gray. Another solid start in his last outing, 5 1/3, 1 earned, 8 Ks, 3 hits. Former number 1 prospect for the Dodgers, was traded over for Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. He took his lumps last season, him and Kelber Ruiz. Now he's on fire. Talk a little bit about what you've seen from him this season.
I mean, we saw some of those moments with Josiah last year that he was starting to figure it out. And again, for a team that's in transition like the Nationals, to have somebody that you can count on that can go out there and give you 5-6 solid innings every week, every start, and is striking people out, not walking people. He's keeping you in the games. He's keeping the ball in the park. So it's that process of maturation, and we allow it for some pitchers, but we don't for others. And I think, in another time, he'd probably be a shortstop or an outfielder right now. And that would have happened to him because people wouldn't have wanted to wait. But you're seeing he's developing, and that's what pitching is. Pitching is so mental. It's so mental. We look at all the numbers and we say how hard a guy throws, but it's so mental now, especially because hitters are challenging batters in different ways, and the strike zone continues to get smaller, and you're pushing it in on the edges, and guys are just not intimidated the same way they used to be. So the intellect, the part of studying the game and growing up, Josiah Gray, plus what you see out of him, that attitude, he is a dude that is enjoying what he's doing. He goes to the ballpark, he's doing his work, but he's loving playing baseball. And I think that for a team like the Nationals that has needed, again, some life ever since they got to the World Series, won it, and you've been waiting on Strasburg again, you're waiting on these things to happen. You need somebody that you can look to for some consistency. Josiah Gray is their consistency. He's their consistency. He's the one thing that they can count on in that rotation day in and day out right now. And I just think he's, like you said, I think he's the best black ace out there. But right now, you got to talk about him as in the top amongst all pitchers in baseball to start the season.
Yeah, and I know we want to see Josh Bell on a better team as well, but that combination in the nation's capital is dirty, especially the way he's hitting up. Bell's still young. I want to talk to you about a few more guys. Let's do Taylor Hearn first. I'll speak a little bit on Hearn. I get to see him a lot in Texas, and I'm not going to put it lightly. We have one of the worst starting rotations in the majors, but we have a guy like Hearn who I think is our best pitcher. He shuffled between the bullpen and the starting rotation last season. And he's a hard throwing lefty, gets it up 97, 96, nice repertoire of pitches, but just can't go deep enough into the games. My question for you, Dave, and I have the same for Hearn. When you have that ace, and I know it's new age baseball where 5-6 innings is kind of the limit. Would you rather if a pitcher could only give you those solid 4, would you rather throw him out of the bullpen, or would you rather take that 4, 5, maybe 5, maybe 6 out the starting rotation, so you could have flexibility with them in the bullpen?
I think I still want them starts. You know what I mean? You can patch together 4 innings behind somebody. It's a lot easier to patch together those 4 than to get good 5 out the start. The Rangers just have, everything that they did in the offseason, it just hasn't come together yet. None of it's worked yet. So, it's a difficult situation.
Well, I'll tell you, Dave, the one thing that they didn't account for this offseason was the pitchers, man.
Right.
And
they spent all the money on hitting.
Yeah.
But that's their way. That's what they did when they went out and they made the big splurges when they signed Alex Rodriguez and all those things. They've done this before, is where they spent all the money on hitting and they've not developed the pitchers. That's been the Rangers' problem throughout their history, is who are the pitchers that the Rangers have developed? Name them.
Even the ones I have around my head now, they're young. They just got drafted a year ago. They just got drafted 2 years ago. I don't want to throw them into the fire and end up losing them. But this is a soapbox that I could be on all night.
It's an organizational issue. They do not develop pitchers well. They haven't done it. They have not generated the kind of young starters that any team needs. You got to, cyclically, your farm system has to produce 1 or 2 starters every 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And the Rangers have not. When was the last time the Rangers had an all-star starter at pitcher?
Cliff Lee. We paid for you, Darvish, back then. I say getting Darvish, but even, Calhoun's a solid hitter. But did we get the package we needed for you, Darvish? I don't think so. And have we developed? I can't even tell you a lot of hitting talent that we've fully developed. That has been our talent, where it was a Texas Rangers draft pick that wasn't traded in.
The Rangers have bankrupted that farm system so many times, going after other people and trying to make those win now moves and things like that over the years. That's going back when they played in the old Arlington Stadium, the round one. When I saw Nolan Ryan pitching up there, and the starting staff was Nolan Ryan, who was in his 40s, Charlie Huff, who was in his 40s. It was like all guys that had passed their prime. But in the outfield and in the infield, you had nothing but young bucks. You had Sammy Sosa, you had Ruben Sierra, you had Steve Buechele, you had all these young dudes in the field. But the pitching staff was a problem. And it just seems that the Rangers just have – and that just surprises me, because the Astros have always developed arms, and Texas puts you in this position just as a state. That's where pitching is. The junior colleges, the college system, there's high schools. There's so many pitchers in the state of Texas. You think that you would at least stumble on some. And it's just the Rangers don't develop pitchers. And they have not developed any great defensive players in a while either. And I think that's been a problem too. They're not a sound defensive team all the time either. So they're just a flawed team. And I feel for Taylor, because when you're a young pitcher, you at the very least, you need run support and you need defense. And in his starts, he has not gotten run support, and he's not gotten defense.
Yeah, I can attest to that. And they have a big. We'll see your squad in the Astros. We see Dante's squad in the Braves later this week, so they could run into some trouble. Last pitcher I want to talk to you about, and I've seen this happen before, and I've seen it be a negative, but Jordan Hicks of the St. Louis Cardinals, one of the fastest throwing pitchers in the game. I believe he has the 3 fastest pitches thrown this season, was recently moved into the starting rotation, faced the Marlins earlier this week. 3 innings, 3 Ks, 2 hits, 1 earned. What do you think about that move for a flamethrower like that to move into the rotation?
I don't think it hurts. I think you give him an opportunity. He's still young enough to where you can find out what his best place is. And so, I don't mind the experimentation at this stage of his career. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and find out what he can do. If he can stand up to it. He's still what? Is he 25 yet? Did he just turn 25?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head.
That's usually when you start, for young pitchers, that's where you start figuring out what your role is going to be. So I think he's at a good place with the Cardinals, an organization that has historically done well in developing pitchers. In contrast to the Rangers, they will not put him in positions, I think, to overuse him. But what they want to see is, can he live up to it? Can he thrive in those situations? And why not? Why not give it a shot? And what we want to see as fans is more black pitchers given the opportunity to start. We want to see that. So I'd like to see him give him the opportunity. Let him go out there, see if he gets hit around. Let him learn. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But the Cardinals are a good enough team that it's not going to cost them to give them this opportunity. And he's a good enough pitcher that he's shown over the past couple of seasons, just in those limited starts. Limited opportunities. He has multiple pitches. He can be effective. And like you said, if you can throw triple digits in Major League Baseball, that's a key now. You have to be able to put volume, put velocity up there in them high 90s, because guys are just too good. So give him the chance. Give him the chance. Let's see. I'd rather that man try and fail and get moved back to the bullpen than never know.
I'm going to have to give a shout out to my fellow Virgo, Jordan Hicks, born on September 6th. So, he is only 25, turning 26 this year. You're in the prime of your life, buddy.
Get yours, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But again, I want to thank you, Dave, for joining us real quick. Tell the people how they can reach you on social media. And I know we're a baseball podcast, but give me one quick Pelicans key tonight.
All right. You can follow me on social media at DM Grubb on Instagram and Twitter. And if you wanted a key for the game for the Pelicans tonight, can they stop JaVale McGee? JaVale McGee has killer games against the Pelicans every time they play. I've been asking the Pelicans to sign him as a free agent for multiple years. And I said going into the series, the biggest disadvantage the Pelicans were going to have was inside play. JaVale McGee is a big reason for that. If the Pelicans can't contain him, they're going to lose again tonight.
It's going to be a legendary one. I'm going to be tuned in. But again, appreciate you, Dave, and we'll have you on again soon. Promise you.
All right, fellas. Y'all enjoy.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Sir Dante. Now, let's get next to our live from the ballpark segment, which is something that I've been looking forward to all week. I know you have too. And we discussed them earlier today. Jazz Chisholm, man. I'm going to just let you take it over from here.
Yeah, I got to the ballpark early, caught him between, he was doing a little workout, and it was dope to see that because a lot of times you don't really see guys, working on their craft like that. But as soon as I walked through the clubhouse, came up through the dugout, and he was right there doing infielder drills. So, like I said, Jazz is very approachable, very cool dude. He loves the game. And, I got to, really ask him, and it was dope because it was the game right after the home run with the Cardinals. So I asked him about how he felt about, them trying to speed up the game and just how he's able to, stay within himself. Hey, what's up? I want to say ballpark. It's your boy Dante Miles live at Truist Park here with Miami Marlins infielder Jazz Chisholm. Jazz, how you doing today, man?
Bro, I'm good, bro. How y'all doing?
I'm doing good. Good to see you, man. You had a big game yesterday, hit the home run. It was your first game in the leadoff spot this year. Let's talk about your mentality when you do step into that spot, hitting leadoff for your team.
I mean, I just keep my dog mentality, man. Going in there, letting people know that ain't nobody can stop me. Going in there, just knowing that that's my spot. And I'm going to do my thing every time I step in the box,
Yeah, definitely.
Get scared.
Yeah, and speaking of doing your thing, we saw yesterday the refs, the umpire tried to speed you up a little bit. You stayed in your zone, and you were able to step in the box and hit that home run. Just talk about that a little bit because I know they've been trying to speed the game up lately.
I mean, like I said earlier in spring, bro, like I had an interview and I said this earlier in spring, but like I'm just trying to get back locked in and not give away any at bats. So I just tried to get to my own speed and lock back in.
Okay, definitely. And so far this year, you've been only at second base. The last couple of years you played some shortstop. Do you have a preference as far as middle infield? Or?
I mean, I just started playing second base when I got to the big leagues. So
okay.
I do have a preference in shortstop, but learning the position ain't bad.
Okay. And last, man, the new glove line, man, it's dope. You normally don't see a lot of players put their personality into the gloves. Just what was it like being involved in that creative process?
I mean, it was great, bro. Like you said, a lot of players don't get to really be themselves out there and really who they want to be because you have a lot of rules in baseball, but I just feel like I'm not scared to break those rules to make sure still staying on the line of the rules, but just being myself with it. You know what I mean? Doing stuff like this and just being out there.
Yeah.
MLBBro.com covering black and brown major leagues.
Yeah, bro. And I thought it was interesting, especially when he said, he prefers playing shortstop. But when you look at the game logs, he's played a lot of second base. That's a problem we always run into, and we talk about it with guys, whether people, want to put somebody else as that quarterback on the infield or feel like, you could use him somewhere else. I'm not really sure why they slid him over to second, but I thought it was interesting when he said, I'd rather play shortstop. And so, I appreciated that honesty because, sometimes a lot of players will hold back on that, but he was pretty straightforward with it. Like, he does enjoy playing shortstop.
Yeah, another guy that I talked to last season that's a lot like that is Josh Harrison. He's with the White Sox right now, and he's a utility player, but when I was speaking to him when he was on the A's last season, he spent time in the outfield. He spends time in second, but he told me he likes to be at second at the shortstop position so he can be behind his pitcher and he can talk shit and he can let him know, hey, bro, let this dude hit a ground ball right to me. I'm going to field it, throw him out, and we going to get into the dugout. That's something he loves. But, again, I'm glad you got to meet Jazz. I believe they'll be out here at Globe Life in a few months or so, in a few weeks. So I have to check them out too. But as we get ready to wrap up our show, talk about what you're going to be seeing this week live at the ballpark.
We got the Cubs coming into town. I have to check the rotation. I believe Stroman will be pitching one of the 3 games. They're here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Like I said, you get the clash of Braves Nation and Cubs Nation. One of the 2 of the only teams who had national TV deals for a very long time. So they have a very large fan base, very large following. So they got 3 night games. Normally they'll do 2 night, 1 day game, but with this being a big matchup, they want to pack the ballpark out. So you got 3 7:05 games in the middle of the week. So I think it's going to be good. The Cubs are, playing better than people expected. They put up 21 on the Pirates yesterday. So, they got some hot hitters right now. And so that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, hopefully I get to talk to Stroman and Jason Hayward as well, because he just opened his new baseball academy. So definitely want to talk to him about that.
Yes, sir. Jason Hayward, one of the highest paid outfielders in baseball right now. I believe he's top 5, maybe top 6. As for myself, again, the Rangers got the 2 teams that were in the World Series coming into town this week. I believe it's 4 with the Astros, 3 with the Braves. And I'm looking forward to our man, Ron Washington. Ron, we miss you out here in Arlington. We miss the juice you brought. And it just hasn't been the same since we let you go. It's going to be he's been back before a few times with the Braves, but now we get to celebrate him being a world champion. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Any last hits you want to have? Players that stood out to you this week, a player or so that maybe stood out to you this week?
Honestly, Jazz, man, like I said, bro, leading the league in slugging percentage and doing a little bit of everything. Like you saw the game last night, he hit the home run. He also stole 2 bases. Like he does a little bit of everything. He's really all over the place, and that's something that, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing what that Miami Marlins team does, because if those veterans can heat up and pick up, catch up to where he's at, who knows what that team can do, because nobody's really run away with that division. So, it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward.
Pitch to Jazz is hitting.
You get another Jazz home run.
Like that one's going to carry off the scoreboard on the first pitch of the game. Jazz all over it, and it's 1-0 Marlins.
I like that power out of the leadoff spot too. For myself, I'm going to begin the Alek Manoah Cy Young campaign today. 11-0 in his last 11 starts. He has the best winning percentage since 2021. He's a solid young dude, and there's actually a little Arlington, Grand Prairie, Texas connection. His brother was a pitcher on the team that I did minor league, independent league baseball radio for in the Texas Air Hogs. Eric Manoah is his brother. And he had said his brother, his older or little younger brother, was a dog, and it's became true. Also want to give a shout out to Joe Adell, man. 286, 5 RBI, second grand slam of his career today, early today, this Sunday. His bat's definitely getting hot. But again, there's a High and Outside podcast with Malik Wright and Dante Miles. Will be here every week, Sunday, 7:30 Central Time. We'll see you guys next time. Appreciate you for tuning in.
MLBBro.com, covering Black and Brown Major League.